How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is me, the Buff Nerd. I'm making this video on Martin Luther King's Day, so hopefully you guys got a day off, to relax, get some studying done, and just, take a breather because, I know a lot of you guys are probably out there studying and, working on getting that next certification. The reason for this video is, as I stated in my last video, I just got a new job. To get some people up to speed, prior to this new job, I was already a network administrator. I was working for an enterprise company in the private sector, and I stumbled upon an opportunity where I could go from the private sector to working for the government. And the position that I have with the government is called Network LAN WAN Administrator, which isn't too far off from being a network administrator like I was in my previous role. I wanted to make a video talking about what led to me taking this role and some of the things I had to consider before, deciding to make a change. For those of you that don't know, my previous job was in Michigan. It was in the Metro Detroit area. I was working with an enterprise company as a network administrator, doing all kinds of configurations, working on firewalls, upgrading switches, doing a lot of layer 2 things, stuff dealing with VLANs and dealing with troubleshooting network connectivity and things along those lines. Also working in platforms like Cisco Meraki, SolarWinds, and dealing with like Palo Alto firewalls. That's the previous job that I had prior to accepting this role. Seems like an amazing gig, doing all those cool things, and getting my hands real dirty when it came to, gaining that experience. Even though that role was an amazing role, I was a part of an amazing team that were doing some very amazing things. In the back of my mind, I kind of wanted to, switch gears and go in a different direction. And the reason why I wanted to go in a different direction was because prior to all of this IT stuff, I was in the military. And while I was in the military, I managed to get a security clearance. A security clearance is an investigation that's done, by a sponsoring entity. Most times it's the government. And, it allows you to, it grants you the access to do certain things that are, classified. And upon getting out of the military, I wanted to utilize that security clearance in some shape, form, or fashion. I got out of the military back in 2018. Up until 2020, I hadn't been able to find a decent gig that required a security clearance, especially in Michigan, because Michigan is not a very, Michigan doesn't have a huge presence when it comes to the military. It's kind of just a Midwest state. So of course, going through my career, I've kind of just always had my eyes open and, and wanted to use my security clearance before it expired, because in certain situations, your security clearance only stays active for a couple of years after you, are no longer using it, or you are no longer active duty and require its use. After that, it goes into an inactive state, and it's a real pain to get it back as an active security clearance. You got to do a reinvestigation, and that's where a lot of money comes into play. Long story short, I didn't want to waste, having a security clearance. So when I stumbled upon this role, which is almost essentially the same thing that I'm doing right now, which is, a lot of layer 2 stuff, not so much layer 3, a lot of monitoring, and things along those lines, I was like, yeah, I'd be more than happy to take this role if, I was able to make the transition from Michigan all the way to North Carolina. I managed to get the opportunity to interview with a company that had a position available down in North Carolina, which is about 3 or 4 states away. It's about a 12-hour drive. I had been in North Carolina before because that's where I was stationed, so I was familiar with the area, and I decided to do the interview. The interview was pretty clear and cut. For the most part, it was a technical interview, but they were more focused on the fact that I had, the Security Plus and the CCNA. Point blank period. When you're working in the like just on the government side of things, the Security Plus is a very important cert for you to have in order for you to even have a role with the government. It's basically the baseline where, do you qualify? Yes or no? Do you have the Security Plus? Yes? Okay, you qualify. If not, talk to us when you have the Security Plus. And I got the Security Plus late 2019, so that was a check. And as you guys know, I just got the CCNA back in August. So for the most part, I pretty much had the role, by them just looking at my certs and my certs alone. So the interview process wasn't very intense. You know, it wasn't as, you know, complicated as some of these other roles have been that I've been looking into. And, you know, they were talking a good bargain. So I decided to pack up and move to North Carolina. This whole area right here is temporary. You know, I'm still getting my living situations under control. But for the most part, I decided to take a chance and, you know, do whatever I could to get the experience that I need. Just for me personally, when it came to me getting into the IT industry, I told myself I'm gonna give myself 5 years. You know, I'm gonna give myself 5 years of nothing but hard work, 40 to 60 hours if possible. You know, making the moves to different areas if I have to in order to get the experience that I need, so that when the time comes for me to settle down, you know, if I want to just stay in a single state or whatever the case may be, I won't have to grind as hard to, you know, get those job opportunities that someone who's very new in the industry, you know, would have to do. With that being said, I accepted the offer down here in North Carolina. You know, it was a little nerve-wracking, of course, because you know, I had maybe about a month and a half to get everything situated so that I can move down here and start working, and, you know, just making sure that I got everything situated back in Michigan prior to making that move, you know, which would be things like, you know, anything's on a good note with my previous employer, and, you know, making sure my housing situation in Michigan is situated so that, you know, I'm not still, you know, paying for an apartment up here while moving to North Carolina. It's just, you know, all the regular things that you would have to consider prior to relocating in a situation like that. Now I am down here. I am 1 week in on working, you know, which is the reason why this hadn't come out a week ago, or maybe, you know, a week and a half prior to that. You know, I've just been getting my stuff situated, you know, getting real comfortable down here, making sure that, you know, I got a good lay of the land before, you know, I start making content, you know. And of course, I kind of wanted to gauge things because in a future video, I'm probably going to talk about the difference between the private sector and, you know, working for the government. Another YouTube content creator made a similar video, you know, which I've looked at about 3 or 4 times now. Her name is I am Lisa. I am Lise. I think that's her name. I'm sorry if I screw it up. Don't hurt me. But yeah, long story short, that's going to be a future video. And, you know, the more I get comfortable down here with this government position, the more information I'll be able to bring to you guys, and, you know, give you some perspective on whether or not you want to, you know, try and go towards the government side or stay in the private sector. I created a poll on YouTube to try and see how people feel when it comes to moving locations, or, you know, if it was your dream job, would you move out of state, you know, to your dream job? Would you stay where you were, or are you kind of on the fence? So it was kind of a yes, no, or maybe thing. If I'm not mistaken, about 85% of people said that they would move. About 10% said that they wouldn't move, or 7%. Jesus Christ, I should have looked at this before I made this video. Long story short, there was a very small percentage of people that said they wouldn't move. There were a couple of people that said they weren't sure, but most people said that they would move for their dream job. And for me, this wasn't a dream job. It was more like a stair step, you know what I'm saying? Because maintaining my security clearance and getting that experience with the government can open up doors, you know, that are even bigger than this one. Because, you know, let's be honest, just having a security clearance alone and being able to work in those kind of environments, you will get paid. The money that you will get paid simply by having a security clearance and, you know, getting a job as a PC technician for, you know, anyone on the government side of things, it's easy, like 15,000 more than you would make in the private sector, or if you were just starting out. The best thing I can recommend for anyone that's watching this that have a security clearance and maybe working in the private sector, you know, and thinking about weighing their options, do some research and look into some of these jobs that you could potentially get with the government, because I can guarantee you, if money is what you are looking for, you will get that. I'm not gonna say exactly how much money I am getting now, but I can say to be doing roughly the same thing that I was doing previously. And my last role, I'm getting about between $13,000 to $17,000 more in that position, you know, which is, of course, an easy win, you know, to be doing the same thing, or not even the same thing, but to be doing roughly the same thing you were doing in the previous role, but getting paid more money and also utilizing your security clearance. Easy decision to make. You know, the hardest part was just the logistics behind getting from Michigan down to North Carolina. I'm not going to make this video very long. This is just kind of something to you know, just to give you guys an update on things, you know, let you know how I'm doing, let you know, the things that I had to think about prior to making that decision to change lanes, and to just, motivate you guys. Because first and foremost, if you're in the IT industry and you have goals to make it to the top, or if you have goals to make six figures, or if you have goals to just, be as proficient as you can when it comes to, whatever area of the business it is that you are in, when it comes to the IT industry, these are the kind of risks that you are going to have to take. There are going to be times where, you are comfortable, you have a fantastic job, or your job is crummy, or whatever the case may be, and you are looking for something different. And that difference might be in a different state. Yeah, and I understand, life happens, and some people have obligations where they can't just up and leave like that. To be completely honest, I have obligations that didn't allow me to just up and leave, but fortunately I had enough time to get things in order to where I could make those moves. Are you willing to do what you have to do to get that dream job that you are looking for? Are you willing to leave the state that you are comfortable in? Are you willing to, leave your family, in your home state for a bit while you get your career, where you want it to be? And sometimes these positions aren't necessarily greater than the position that you're currently in, but sometimes you have to take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward. Would you do that if it means you are going to get to your end goal faster than just doing it the traditional way, staying in one position and working your way to the top? Reward comes to those that are willing to take chances and bet on themselves. People that stay comfortable are often the people that are miserable, especially in this industry. With that being said, are you one of those people that have, had to move out of state, or had to take a role that was, something that you weren't comfortable with in order to, maybe take a step back and move forward, or just, put yourself in an uncomfortable predicament in order to become better? If so, go ahead and comment in the section below. Tell me your story. Let me know that I'm not the only one that has to make these kind of decisions. And on top of that, talking about those kind of experiences will likely help someone else who is thinking about making that change, or who may not be comfortable with changing industries or changing job roles, or whatever the case may be. Quick side note, I am knee deep in studying for the CCNP certification. Things are going very well. I've gotten a lot of the official cert guide knocked out, and I'm probably going to be working on some practice tests very soon. I'll have more updates on that in the next coming weeks. Outside of that, thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you to the 1,000 subscribers that really enjoy the content. If you do enjoy the content, hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe wherever it is down there, and leave a comment if you want to. Show me that you appreciate the content, and I'll do my best to make more on a more consistent basis. As always, I know I kind of switch this up every now and then on every video, but you get the point. As always, stay safe, stay positive, learn everything, and get the gains, be it in the gym or in the books.